Elara Quinn sat at her desk, a haven of organized chaos filled with open books, ancient manuscripts, and handwritten notes. The morning sun filtered through her window, casting a warm, steady light over her focused face. She flipped through the pages of a weathered journal, its pages yellowed and fragile with age. Elara Quinn sat at her desk, a haven of organized chaos filled with open books, ancient manuscripts, and handwritten notes. The morning sun filtered through her window, casting a warm, steady light over her focused face. She flipped through the pages of a weathered journal, its pages yellowed and fragile with age. Whispering Woods, a place where voices of the lost linger, she read aloud, her voice a mix of intrigue and concern. Strange disappearances, eerie phenomena. Elara's eyes narrowed with determination. The Whispering Woods, a forest on the outskirts of Ashwood, had long intrigued her with its dark reputation. Legends spoke of voices that whispered from the trees and of people who vanished without a trace. She knew she had to investigate. Arriving at the edge of the Whispering Woods, Elara surveyed the scene before her. The forest was dense and imposing, its ancient trees twisting and intertwining like skeletal fingers reaching out from the darkness. Mist curled around the base of the trees, adding an ethereal and foreboding quality to the landscape. Elara took a deep breath, adjusting her gear and setting up her camera and recording equipment. The crunch of leaves beneath her boots was the only sound as she ventured into the forest, her heart racing with a mix of excitement and apprehension. The deeper Elara ventured into the woods, the darker and more oppressive the atmosphere became. The mist thickened, reducing visibility and making the ancient tree seem even more menacing. The forest was eerily quiet, broken only by the occasional rustle of leaves and distant bird calls. Elara noticed peculiar markings on the tree, ancient runes carved into the bark. She paused to photograph them, her curiosity piqued. The symbols seemed to pulse with a strange energy, hinting at something more sinister lurking within the woods. After hours of navigating through the forest, Elara stumbled upon an old, dilapidated cabin partially hidden among the trees. The structure was overgrown with vines, its windows shattered and its doors creaking ominously as she pushed it open. Inside, the cabin was a relic of the past. Dust-covered furniture stood in silent testimony to a time long forgotten. The air was cold and musty, and Elara shivered as she set up her equipment and began recording her observations. "There's an unsettling chill in this place," she murmured, her voice barely above a whisper. "It's as if the cabin itself is holding its breath." As she explored the cabin, she heard a faint whispering sound, soft and mournful, as if voices were carried on the wind. Elara's heart pounded as she scanned the room, but the source of the whispers remained elusive. Discovering a trapdoor in the cabin's floor, Elara pried it open and descended into the basement. The space was dark and musty, filled with old crates and forgotten belongings. The whispering grew louder as she moved deeper into the basement, guiding her flashlight to reveal a small, dimly lit room. In the center of the room was a worn ritual circle, surrounded by melted candle stubs. Strange symbols were etched into the walls, their meanings lost to time. The air was thick with an eerie energy, and Elara's flashlight flickered ominously. "What happened here?" she whispered, her voice trembling as she examined the ritual circle. Suddenly, a cold wind swept through the basement, extinguishing her flashlight and plunging the room into darkness. Elara's breath came in short, panicked gasps as shadowy figures began to materialize around her. Their ghostly forms were barely visible, their eyes glowing with an unnatural light. "Stay back!" Elara shouted, her voice steady despite the growing fear. "Who are you? What do you want?" The figures moved closer, their whispers forming incoherent but desperate phrases. Elara's flashlight flickered back to life, casting a weak light over the haunting scene. The spirits were trapped, their faces twisted in agony. "I'm here to help," Elara said, her voice filled with determination. "I'll find a way to release you." Emerging from the cabin, Elara felt the weight of her experience settle heavily on her shoulders. The forest was eerily quiet, and the mist had thickened, making the darkness feel even more oppressive. She knew she needed more information to help the trapped spirits. Back in her apartment, Elara pored over ancient texts and manuscripts, seeking answers. Her notes and books were spread out across her desk as she cross-referenced the symbols and the ritual circle she had encountered. The ritual involved appeasing restless spirits through a specific cleansing ceremony. To release the spirits, Elara wrote in her journal, "I need to perform a cleansing ceremony at the site of the ritual. This should help put their souls to rest and end the curse." Returning to the Whispering Woods, Elara was armed with candles, herbs, and ritual tools. The night was thick with darkness as she set up the ceremonial space in the basement of the cabin. She lit the candles, arranged the ritual items accordingly to the instructions she had found, and began the cleansing ceremony. As she recited the incantation, the forest seemed to come alive with whispers, but the voices were softer and less desperate. The spirits began to manifest around her, their forms becoming clearer and more peaceful. The oppressive atmosphere of the cabin began to lift. "By the light and by the earth," Elara chanted, "I release you from this place of torment. Find peace and rest." The spirit's expression shifted from anguish to calm, and the darkness around the cabin lifted. The mist began to dissipate, and the forest started to feel lighter and more serene. As dawn broke, the Whispering Woods appeared transformed. The trees stood tall and serene, the mist having lifted, revealing a peaceful forest bathed in the soft light of morning. Elara stood outside the cabin, exhausted but relieved, watching the first light of day filter through the trees. "It's over," she said softly to herself. "The spirits are free now." Back at her apartment, Elara reflected on her experience. She sat at her desk, reviewing her footage and notes, and began to write her report on the Whispering Woods. The ritual had worked, and the spirits were at peace. Today, she wrote in her journal, "I faced the Whispering Woods and helped release trapped spirits. The ritual was successful, and the woods are now at peace. This investigation has shown me the power of ancient rites and the importance of understanding the past. Thank you for joining me on this journey. Remember, even in the darkest places, there's always hope for redemption and peace." To be continued. If you want to uncover the mysteries with me, don't forget to like this video and subscribe to the channel. Your support will help us navigate the darkness and find the truth. Hit that notification bell so you never miss an episode.